a very exciting day on the Venezuelan border, for me especially. I'm Chuck Holton, and this is the Hot Zone.
This is the Hot Zone. Engaging with the news in a whole new way, international war correspondent Chuck Holton brings insight into areas of crisis and lets you help those affected.
Hey folks, okay, so it's been a really crazy day, and I'm just needed to kind of off gas a little bit. So I came out here to this park in kind of the middle of Cucuta. It's an absolutely beautiful place, and there are lots and lots of kids here. Some are teenagers that are doing some kind of sports. There are kids back behind me that are just playing on the playground. There's some people doing yoga or something over there. And it's just a really nice afternoon out here. But if you're listening to the podcast, I just wanted to explain all that so you'd know what all those background sounds were. You're going to hear people screaming and things like that. That's all these kids that are doing their games and stuff. Anyway, it's been a pretty amazing day, and not necessarily in a good way, for me here on the border. So I'll just go back and tell you the whole story. So this morning I met up with some leaders from Operation Blessing. That's CBN's philanthropic arm, which is sending people down here to basically do an assessment and try to figure out how they can help and what the needs are and that sort of thing. So since I was here 2 weeks ago, I came along to kind of show them around a little bit and just help as well, do some more reporting. So we had some meetings this morning, and then we went down to the border. And I have to say, it's amazing how much the border has changed since I was here just 2 weeks ago. When I was here before, there were thousands of people crossing the bridge from the other side in Venezuela, coming across, buying things, and then carting all their things back home to Venezuela. Well, now the bridge that they were crossing is closed completely. Apparently it has been since the weekend when Maduro burned all of the aid that the United States tried to ship into Venezuela to support the interim president, Juan Guaido. So the bridge is closed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are not coming and going. They're just now coming and going illegally on across the river, and doing so within sight of the police and the military that are all lined up along the border. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So here's a little bit of what that looks like. Now, as I was going down there and doing that reporting, trying to get my stand-ups taken care of, I decided to try to get a better angle on that bridge. And so I stepped out onto the riverbank, and with all those people around, middle of the daytime, and started to do my stand-up again. And that's when things kind of went terribly wrong. Take a look. So when I was here 2 weeks ago, that bridge back behind me had like 10 or 20,000 people on it. I mean, it was absolutely packed. Now it's empty, but people are not. Come on, man. Come on, man. You got problems? Come on, man.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. So what happened there was, as I was doing the stand-up, these three guys were kind of circling, and I really wasn't paying attention. I kind of got complacent. And one of them walked up and grabbed my arm. I thought at first he was kind of messing around, because he wasn't doing it like he was trying to steal my camera, which I had in that hand. He just kind of grabbed my arm almost like we were buddies or something. And then he kind of pivoted You see on the video that he put his shoulder under my shoulder, and he almost tried to like lift me up. And he started calling to his friends and saying, come on, let's go. So that's when I realized this guy's actually trying to take me into Venezuela. He's trying to kidnap me. And that's when I realized it's go time. And so just as the camera shut off there, I had some kind of problem with the SD card, just my luck. You can still hear on the audio that there's a big struggle happening. Well, that was me bashing the guy in the face with this camera I'm recording on right now, a GoPro Hero 6, using my selfie stick ninja skills, I guess. And I just whacked him with it. He let go of me. And then there was another guy, one of his buddies, coming for me. I kind of straight armed that guy, and I took off at a dead run to get out of there. Well, I almost made it to the little footbridge, and I tripped. Fell down in the rocks, skinned my knees a little bit, broke my camera, and as I was getting back up, those guys caught up with me and grabbed me by the belt and started trying to pull me back into Venezuela. Well, I just turned around and backhanded the snot out of that same guy that I'd hit with the camera the first time, and he let go of me again, and right at that point, one of the Operation Blessing guys came charging across and scared him away. So that's exactly what happened. Surprisingly, I wasn't really all that shook up about it at the time. I just thought, man, that was close. Those guys were trying to rob me or something. Well, then a lady kind of came over and she said, you know, I thought about telling you not to go out there on that riverbank because those guys over there belong to the colectivos. And if you don't know what the colectivos are, they are biker gangs that have been hired by Maduro. They're loyal to Nicolas Maduro to sort of enforce his dirty work, to enforce his will on the people. And he arms them, he gives them kind of free rein. And some of the stories I've heard from Venezuelans about the colectivos is that they're very, very brutal. They rob, rape, even kill, kind of at will. And they told me, that lady told me later there, that those guys had been standing on the riverbank and had been charging people to come past them, charging people to come back into Venezuela based on whatever they were carrying. And when they saw me, they thought, oh, hey, you know, here's a gringo. You can imagine what the reward would be for them if they were to capture me, take me into Venezuela, and turn me into the police or the Guardia or whatever in there as an American spy. You know, oh, this guy was taking pictures of the border, you know, that kind of thing. And the more I think about it, the more I've gone back and I've watched the footage over again and the footage that I took before that. I can see those guys across the border and I can see what they're doing on the footage that I was just filming, not knowing what I was looking at. And I realized that's probably the case. I think they were literally trying to kidnap me and take me into Venezuela. I'm trying not to be, you know, I'm trying not to exaggerate this. It'd be easy to really kind of, you know, make this into a bigger thing than it is. It could be that they were just some punks and they thought they would, you know, try to rob me or whatever. But again, they weren't trying to hurt me. They weren't violent with me when they first approached me. They came and grabbed me and started pulling me into Venezuela. They didn't grab my camera right away. They weren't trying to, you know, snatch and run or anything. They were trying to take me personally into Venezuela. And when I listened to what they were saying on camera, you can hear them saying, come on, let's go. Come on, you're coming with us. And so that's pretty concerning. Obviously, taking people, kidnapping people right there on the border and taking them into Venezuela is kind of portends a real danger for other journalists that could go down there. And so I've talked to some friends at the embassy, and they're encouraging me to, you know, report this to the embassy here in Colombia, to the regional security officer and all that. I don't know if I'll do that or not, but I mean, what do you report? Hey, there's an American idiot journalist that's going right up to the border and with a $2,000 camera. You know, I mean, look, this is my fault. I got complacent. I had people with me I didn't listen to that voice in my head that said, you probably shouldn't go down there on that riverbank. There was just something in the back of my brain that was saying that. And I was like, oh, these people are fine. Because most Venezuelans are so nice. And even in this, like last night when I was down there, they were so, you could tell they're so desperate. They have become very much more desperate since the last time I was here, only 2 weeks ago. Significantly so. Because they are hungry and they are hurting and they're sleeping on the ground. And so, anyway, I was not paying attention to the people around me. And, you know, I opened the door for that to happen. I can guarantee that's not going to happen again. One other thing that I noticed is that all three of those guys who attacked me were smoking cigarettes. And they were the only people smoking cigarettes that I saw down there, and probably the only people who could afford to smoke cigarettes because, again, they're part of that colectivo and they're favored by Maduro. So, anyway, that's just something interesting to note about that. Anyway, once that happened, then we got out of there. I got plenty of footage and everything, so that's fine. And we went to a feeding center where Catholic charity is feeding 8,000 people a day, or 8,000 meals a day, 2 meals a day. And they are, really doing good work down there for the Venezuelans. And there looked like 8,000 people in line to get in that place. And so got some footage there, and then went back to my hotel room and sort of cleaned myself up. I had gotten a couple scrapes and bruises I had to take care of, and that sort of thing. So, pretty eventful day, to say the least. And, I have to say, just the way I feel about it now, the more I've watched that video, I was actually a little more shook up after watching the video a couple times and watching those guys circling, just watching. And, like, I was focused on my camera, wasn't paying attention. And it makes me just remember that doing this job, there are some inherent risks in what I do, and I can't get complacent. Because, as we used to say in the military, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're getting a haircut. And if I don't want a haircut anymore, I need to be more aware, especially in situations like that, and not take for granted the fact that, I've got people with me or anything like that. Okay, so enough about that. I want to talk a little bit about what I did last night. I went down to that same area right there by the border, and I wanted to see what it looked like at night because I hadn't been down there at night. And let me show you a little bit of what I found. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and I just drove down to the border between Venezuela and Colombia. This is the, it's the Táchira River here anyway. And this place is full of people, Venezuelans, who have taken buses and walked, sometimes ridden in a bus. I talked to one lady who came 24 hours from inside Venezuela on a bus to get to Cucuta because she said there is literally just no food in our country. And she came here with her children and her family. They have 9 people total, a bunch of little kids, mostly. I think there's only about 4 or 5 adults. And they came here because they are literally starving. And I've been in this place during the day, but I haven't been here at night. And so I wanted to come down and see, first of all, if there was any electricity across the river on the Venezuelan side. It turns out there is. They said it just came back on, but that it's coming and going. It's not very stable. And here on the Colombian side, there are just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are just kind of milling around at 10 o'clock at night. So I got out and asked them, what are you doing here? Are you waiting for something? And they said, no, we're sleeping here because they bring food here in the morning. And they're just bedding down on the ground, on the street with their children without even blankets or anything, just the clothes on their backs and sleeping there on the ground. And it's horrifying, I have to say. The problem for me is, like, I find this woman and her couple children that I think maybe I could help. But if I try to help them, there's going to be 1,000 people surrounding me in 20 seconds, you know. As a matter of fact, as I'm filming this, there's a guy standing around right there, waiting to ask me, I'm sure, for some money, waiting to ask me for some help. And, you know, it's like, where does that end? I mean, good grief, I could give away everything I've got, which isn't much, and it would only help just a handful. There are so many people hurting here, so many people in need, and this has got to end somehow, hopefully sooner rather than later. So, you know, you can't help everybody, but you can help the people that God puts in front of you. And I met this woman with a couple kids that are sleeping on the street out here. They haven't had any food, and they've got family to sleep with. So I didn't feel like I needed to get them a hotel room or anything. They're basically camping out there. They actually have some mattresses somebody gave them, but they didn't have any food. So for a little bit of money, I don't know, about $10 or less than $20. I came and just bought this lady out all her food here in this very sparse little shop, and we're going to take it and we're going to give it to those people on the street, so they've at least got some food in their belly tonight when they go to sleep. And you did that. This is money that you all sent. We're just finding ways to help people and love people that we run into. Thanks for doing it. There is so much need here. And, you know, as I was driving back from there today, after that whole attack and everything, the temptation is to get angry and kind of hardened to that misery that surrounds you. And when somebody comes up to the window and, you know, is asking for a handout, oh, heck no, I'm not rolling that window down. I'm not going to help that person. But, you know, I don't want to do that because I don't want to internalize, you know, violence against my person in a way that's damaging to me. The best way to heal from any trauma, in my opinion and in my experience, is to go out and help someone else that's in trauma, to help someone else who is in a miserable situation, someone else who is hurting right now. And so I want to be more generous. I want to be more giving. I want to be more grateful for what I have and more loving to the people that are in such desperate need here. You all have been so generous to me, and that really is encouraging. People have just been showering the podcast with donations, and we are taking those donations and we're helping people and giving them out. So I want to, do you hear that kid screaming back there? Good grief. What I want to do now is I want to just leave the camera running a little bit, and I just want to let you see as I go around and just love some people by helping some people in need. So come on. All right, so there's this guy across the street here who is going through the trash. I'm going to talk to him. ¿Qué está haciendo, compa?
Aquí reciclando, patrón.
¿Cómo?
Reciclando la basura.
Reciclando.
Claro, ¿cómo no?
¿Qué tipo de cosas puede vender?
¿Cómo?
De latas. Buscando
Sí,
latas.
Claro, buscando esto, el plástico, la lata, el envase gaseoso. ¿Tú estás haciendo?
Sí, aquí 20,000.
Ay, que muchas gracias,
Sí.
que me lo bendiga.
Sí,
Dios
sí.
mío.
Sí. ¿Y cómo se llama?
Ah, Jaime.
Jaime.
Sí.
Oh, yo soy Carlos.
Sí, Jaime.
Mucho gusto.
Bueno,
Y que Dios le bendiga. Déjeme orar.
que Dios me lo bendiga, usted me lo
Ok. Dios Padre Santo, te damos gracias en este momento que puedo encontrar a mi amigo nuevo, Jaime. Te pedimos sus bendiciones en él. Te pedimos que puedes mandar sus ángeles para acampar alrededor de él y trabajar su plan en su vida. Y te pedimos todo eso en el nombre de Jesús. Amén.
Amén.
Jaime is going through the trash. He's actually from Colombia. He's not Venezuelan. But he's going through the trash and he's recycling it. He's separating it out, and he can make, sounded like about $2 or $3 a day doing that. And that's about it. $2 or $3 a day. So obviously kind of hard to survive on that. So we just gave him a pretty good week, I'd say. You did that. Here comes somebody else that looks like she might have some need. So this is Milagro. I'm just talking to her because she's showing me the place where Venezuelans sleep when they come across the border. This is just over $1 a night, and I'll just show you here what that looks like. Just a mattress on the floor. She said they get up to 8 or 9 people in this place at night. And Milagro is a mother with 3 children, and she had to ride a bus for 2 solid days from the center of Venezuela to get here. And she says there's no reason to stay, but she just told me that si Maduro se cae hoy, I said, if Maduro goes away today, she said, tomorrow I'll be going right back home. She wants to go home. ¿Y dónde están tus niños?
Guárico.
En
Venezuela, Guárico.
En Venezuela. ¿Lo dejaron? ¿Lo dejaste? Oh, okay. So she left her children with her mother to come out here. ¿Y qué vas a hacer?
Trabajar.
She's going to try to work. Haciendo
Lo que sea.
lo que sea. She's going to do whatever she can to make a little money and take it back to her family. No, yo voy a comprarlo.
¿Por qué?
Okay. Yeah, look, she's giving me the little puppy dog eyes, like I'm gonna buy something that she's selling. Ain't gonna happen. However, she's obviously hungry, and I'm sure if I get her something to eat, she'll eat it. So I don't think she wants to come with me. Quédate para allá. Voy a regresar. Okay. I think that will do the trick. Right there. No sabe. Mira. Hay que compartirlo con tu amigo. ¿Ah? ¿Qué es? I probably better get back to the hotel. We got more to do. We're going to be here for several more days. So I hope you'll keep watching, and I hope you'll keep joining us in this. We're going to find a lot of people over the next several days who need a lot of help. Stay tuned. This is Chuck Holton. You've been watching The Hot Zone.
The Hot Zone is produced by Amy Holton and Livefire Media. Copyright 2019.